As of 2022, we have a whopping 1.446 billion cars on the planet, but not all of these cars were made with the intent to keep you safe. The fact is, we've made a whole lot of life-endangering vehicles throughout history, and yes, they've caused countless brutal deaths. In this video, we'll be exploring the top 10 deadliest automobiles on the planet. Let's get into it. At number 10, we have Kia Rio. The price of this car might fool you into buying this elegant-looking masterpiece, but beware. The car, despite its sleek style, will drive you straight to your demise, all thanks to its poorly designed front seating that's prone to cause serious damage to your limbs and head in case of a crash. The car safety report by Insurance Institute for Highway Safety showed a couple of weak points for the Kia Rio's 2012 to 2014 model, including the head and leg areas that are susceptible to lethal damage when struck from the rear. At number 9, we have the Chevrolet Corvette. The Chevrolet is a car that has been very popular throughout history. This sports car attracts the young male demographic who likes speed, also known as the poor man's Porsche. However, in retrospect, it should be called the dead man's Porsche. Drivers would soon discover that it's incredibly hard to steer this car, especially at greater speeds. However, along with the car's power and aerodynamic design, the combination of aggressive drivers and narrow tires has led to numerous car crash accidents to this day. At number 8, we have the Audi 5000. Usually the first thought that comes to mind when you hear the word Audi is elegance and safety, but that wasn't always the case. In the 80s, Audi 5000 gave its parent German company a terrible reputation. This vehicle had a notable faulty engine. The defective nature of the car that sent many drivers to their early graves came from the engine, causing around 660 accidents from 1978 to 86. This model of the Audi had magical powers, unlike any vehicle before it. There are 1,380 incidents of this vehicle shifting into gear and even accelerating on its own, leaving anyone in or around it at its will. The company addressed this issue by arguing that the engine wasn't faulty enough to cause any crashes on the road by itself, but finally owned up later. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers perished in accidents before they happened. At number 7, we have the DeLorean DM-12. If you're an admirer of futuristic films, you must have seen this car in almost all of them, but don't let its popularity in films fool you. There's another thing this car is massively famous for, and that's being a notoriously dangerous vehicle. Its notable wing doors lack the safety mechanisms to release the doors after a crash, which means that this would put the drivers in a dangerous position. These doors would be jammed, which would make it impossible to open from the inside. Also, the windows weren't large enough to offer a passageway to safety either. In the event of a rollover, passengers would be trapped inside until the rescue crews arrived on the scene. At number 6, we have the Pontiac Fiero. If you're a Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, you're probably aware of the Pontiac bandit Jake Peralta's nemesis / best friend. Stealing Pontiacs was his MO, but don't let it become yours because this car has a wicked reputation for randomly bursting into flame. Fires could start for several reasons. Among them were the faulty wiring that resulted from poor design choices and its coolant features. Coolant lines that were located in unsuitable places in the engine and incorrect guidance on how much oil to put in the car caused chronic underfilling and oil leakage. This is where those fires commonly started, with a total of 300 occurrences from 1984 to 1988. In due fairness, this vehicle had one of the highest safety ratings from crash tests, but unless you like living on the edge, we'd recommend you err on the side of caution. At number 5, we have the Ford Bronco. When the market was clamoring for a compact SUV, Ford's answer was to create Bronco 2. This car was designed to be agile and rugged. Despite its popularity, it was also regrettably chronic with rollovers. Ford made a misstep with the SUV. Its high body made maneuvering curved roads a dangerous thing. A tight turn at high speeds has been believed to have been directly responsible for a large number of deaths. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the rear-drive Bronco 2's rollover-related death rate between 1986 and 1990 was 3.78 fatalities per 10,000 vehicles. So be careful taking turns with this one, it might just cost you your life. At number 4, we have the Ford Explorer. You'd be surprised to hear how often companies make minor changes to a product and make it seem like it's brand new, Apple. But Ford is no better when it comes to redesigning their new model. Just one minor minor detail they missed, they never revisited the old drawing board and fixed the foundational issue, rolling over. Even when some changes have been made in an attempt to ensure that it would not roll over frequently, the core issues of the body designs were ignored, which only opened the door for even more chronic issues. Ford built the Explorer with the same suspension and Firestone tires as they did their Ranger truck, which weighed 600 pounds less. As expected, the Explorer was unstable with a high tendency to roll over. Besides facing many of the same issues that plagued the earlier Bronco 2, further accidents were caused by the low pressure on their tires that led to tires losing their tread and causing crashes throughout a loss of grip. Statistics reported by PBS show that from 90 to 02, people driving the Explorer were 16 times more likely to die in a collision than in any other SUV. At number 3, we have Yugo GV. Cheap price tag plus good-looking car, what could go wrong? Think again. The low-quality material and poor design used in building this car led to it being impossible and highly dangerous to drive. The Yugo GV's safety rating isn't just low, the Yugo GV rating is disturbingly low because collisions to the front of the car are completely unprotected. If an auto accident doesn't put a Yugo GV out of commission, then it would be its engine that dies and falls apart quickly. The death rate of the Yugo GV is said to be 3 people for every 10,000 made. That's one of the largest traffic death rates, granting the Yugo GV a place in this list of the most dangerous cars since 1992. Moral of the story? Don't be a cheapskate, it might just end up costing you more in hospital bills. At number 2, we have the Ford Pinto. Wonder what it is with Ford in making undrivable cars? Perhaps the most infamously dangerous American car to this day, the Ford Pinto, is a prime example of an under-designed car rushed to the market, but perhaps the most well-known problem is its tendency to burst into flames upon a slight rear impact. Such an incident occurring on August 10, 1978, 3 teenage girls died after their 1973 Ford Pinto was rammed from behind by a van and burst into flames on an Indiana highway. And because the fuel tank of the vehicle is located near the bumper, the probability of an explosion from one hit from the back is extremely high. What is it with cars and the urge to randomly burst into flames? Psst, the answer is neglectful manufacturers. And at number 1, we have the Tesla FSD-M. Who hasn't heard of Tesla and the strides the company is making in the field of automobiles? But did you know Tesla also happens to be making strides in making car travel potentially dangerous? Its electric vehicles were involved in 70% of the reported crashes involving level 2 technologies, 60% of those resulting in serious injuries, and nearly 85% of the fatal ones. Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, has been touting self-driving cars as the next big thing for years, saying in 2015 that autonomous vehicles would be on the road within 2 years. While that timeline hasn't come to fruition, Musk has not yet given up on his dream, nor has he tempered his ambitions. In May 2022, he stated that full self-driving FSD cars should be available by the same time next year. But Musk's big goal to accelerate the deployment of self-driving cars has not been without controversy. Now, Ralph Nader, a 4-time presidential candidate and forefather of modern vehicle safety standards, has made his views on FSD vehicles clear. Nader has called Tesla employing FSD systems in its cars, quote, one of the most dangerous and irresponsible actions by a car company in decades. Self-driving technology seems tempting, though, but we know that with the added luxury of not driving your car in the future, you might as well get ready to jump out if the car ever gets too close to a cliff. Well, that's it for today's video discussing the top 10 deadliest vehicles in history. What did you think of our ranking? Do you agree with the list, or is there something we missed out on? Please let us know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.